Okay, so for today's reaction video, the topic is about people who spend so much on their VTube idols. They spend a ton of money, and they were actually very much in love with them. So this one is from Abima Prime, and this is about some of the challenges that some VTubers face, and some of those hardcore fans who spend a ton of money. So right here, we got a dude named Rex, and he is very much in love with Emu Alice, Emu Alice, and here's how the article goes right here. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it right there. Oshikatsu, or the practice of fans supporting their favorite idols and other types of idols, is on the rise. The object of the support varies from person to person, but for many, it is an unreachable figure of admiration. However, there are also serious fans whose feelings are so strong that they develop romantic feelings. The partners don't just have to be real people. Rex, who is 34, is in love with the VTuber Emu Alice. He has bought almost all of her merchandise, including a life-size acrylic panel that costs 330,000 yen each. So yeah, he spent pretty much over 2,500 US dollars on that. He has declared that he has no intention of marrying anyone other than Emu Alice, and in his nightly streams, he makes comments like, "Please keep your cheating to a minimum." On the other hand, there are also cases where excessive love for one's idols lead to criminal acts such as stalking. So Abima Prime discussed the nature of serious love with those involved. So they talk with this first person here named Rex. Um, by the way, the article is about some people spend about 1 million to 3 million yen on VTubers on their merchandise. 3 million equates to about $19,000 USD a year. 1 million is about $6,000. So here it is. The problem that serious lovers have are that their hopes of dating or getting married are almost never fulfilled. They get jealous when they see how other fans are treated, and they lose interest in regular people when those around them are cohabiting or getting married. Rex agrees, saying, "I've been down this road too, but I've gotten over it now, and now I am on the other side. I've learned how to control my feelings so I can continue to love my idol forever." He was attracted to Emu Alice's avatar when she debuted 4 years ago and went to watch her stream. He was also drawn to her voice and declared himself seriously in love within a week. He has already told her that, wow, he's pretty much upfront about his love for her. I wonder how she feels. Anyway, he spends 1 to 3 million yen a year on her and posts a daily or note about the good things about her. Note is like a blog page in Japan. A lot of people use it for video game reviews and so forth, but he uses his blog to post about his love for Emu Alice. So anyway, in order to pursue his idol, he gave up a nationally qualified job and changed jobs to work at a restaurant company. He has even released a collaborative product with the restaurant where he works. Okay, that's hardcore right there. So this is Emu Alice right here. Let's see here. Ikanishite. Okay. How did he reach the state of mind where he can control his emotions? Are words and actions based on yourself or on the other person? Look objectively at whether you're doing something for yourself or for the other person. Even if you pay a high amount, it makes a big difference whether you are paying because you want attention or because you want more, if you want to support the other person. Of course, most people would buy a lot of these merch because they want to support the individual. So that makes sense. He just he has a greater love and supports. And if you have the income to do so, then so be it. The way I look about it so far is there are people like that with their cars. They'll pay a lot of money because they love their car. There are people who do it for video games. They spend a ton of on special limited edition video games. There are cosplayers who will spend a lot on costumes. So, is this what he's doing wrong, unnatural? There are people who have, well, I remember watching this movie about love and the different kinds of love. Um, there was one person who loves guns, and in the movie, they showed him his love for guns, and then they showed other people and their different perspective towards love. You know, in the, of course, from what we learned in media, love is for things that are living. Maybe your family, your wife, your husband, your pet animal. Things that are tend to be living. But when you start saying that you love something that is not necessarily a real thing, then of course society tends to uh, you know, shun them. And I do remember there was a Nintendo game from Japan that I played a lot, where it was like a dating sim, and you have to win the person. But the person in question actually filed a marriage license to marry the character, and it was big news. And this is not new. This has been going on in Japan. It gets a lot of news, and there are some people who are just really hardcore about that. But you know, I think it depends on the individual of what you think. How you feel about love. Of course, people who are more strict about it, saying, "Hey, love is about loving someone, sharing that intimacy, and so forth with that person, and going through challenges and you know the good and the bad, right?" But when it comes to uh, this love towards things that are not human or not living, in their mind, they are living because they hear her voice every day through their through their YouTube channel, and they see the person's interactions, and there's some people who have that. There are people who are really crazy about that. Um, you know, so who am I to judge? There's really people have their own perspectives of love, and if you if this person wants to feel that wants to spend all that money and his love on VTuber, then so be it. Again, there are people who love their cars. There are people who love various aspects on in their life, and they're willing to spend money for it. And whether or not they regret it, that's on them to to learn whether it's worth it or whether it's not worth it. But who are we to judge, right? And some people may look at them as really weird and unusual, but again, it's the way I feel about it is that love can mean a lot of things to people, and in this day and age, I think we are starting to see you know things, the concept of love changing a bit. I mean, just remember back then, um, for people to talk about love between the same sex, that was like uncalled for. Now it's becoming more commonplace, and who knows what happens in the future. And I'm sure there's a lot of movies that people saw about the future when technology becomes so crazy that people fall in love with their VR character, or they fall in love with their um, you know, with this is going far in the future. Who knows? Maybe there's androids or something. Who knows? But anyway, just going back to things and how it is today. I remember during the pandemic, and where people were getting into the VR and meta, I guess meta, and not through just VR chat and other areas that people can talk and meet. And there are people I know who use that space because they were lonely and they used it to connect with other people. And I think that was something that um, became so evident during the pandemic, that while people were stuck inside and couldn't go out, they used their character to you know to show love, I guess you could say. I've talked about it. I've had videos where I've gone to those VR parties, and you see these VR characters like making out, and I'm like, this is very interesting. How are they doing this? And now it's just really an interesting concept. But you know what? To each their own. And I looked at that and I said, you know what? That's, people find love elsewhere. And I remember one person saying that, you know what? They love they love what's happening in the virtual world versus in reality. And again, this is such uh, a line. This is where people say, you know what, they need to draw the line between reality and what is real and what's not real. But I think for some people, when they go out and spend this much money on something that they believe in, and something that they are very connected to, is it wrong? Or personally, I could care, because the way I look at it is that everyone lives their own life, and whatever makes them happy. Is this guy still being productive? He has a job. Is he? He's not like he's a neat and staying indoors and causing trouble. This is his thing. So if that's what entertains him, then so be it. And if someone else disagrees with it, then he disagrees with it. But you know what? You're going to meet a lot of people in life who will disagree with you. I know there are people who may be anime fans, who may be Star. Hell, here's an example of that. Sci-fi. Let's say that you're a big Star Trek fan or a big Star Wars fan. There are people there who still treat people like crap, because they're a fan of sci-fi shows and they think they're a little bit nerdy and going overboard. There are people who treat those who go, well, back then, going to a Comic Con or a video game convention or an anime convention was not seen as cool, but now it's becoming mainstream, and everyone wants to be part of it, and everyone wants to be part of the cosplay culture and so forth. But then you have those people on the other side who are very traditional, and they're like, it's not supposed to be this way. What is wrong with today's society? You know what? As long as people are enjoying their time, even if it's just for a few days in a year or whatever, if they want to do that, if they want to cosplay, if they want to go to a convention, so be it. Have fun, enjoy life. There are way too many people who are constantly working and working and working, and they never enjoy their lives. They never get to travel, they never get to go to conventions, or never get to experience anything. And the way I look at it is, again, there's a lot of traditional people who have that mindset. And the way I look at it, if you want to, experience something different than other people, again, so be it. I could tell you that when it comes to music, if I listen to a lot of Japanese music, I could tell you that most people around me do not. Do they think I'm weird about it? Possibly. But you know what? I don't care. So, but the thing is that people, know that, I live a very productive life, and, and I have no problems with what my interests are. As you can see, I'm a VTuber myself, and you know what? I could care less of if people think, oh man, what you're doing is so weird. I actually did have someone tell me that, saying, I don't know, this whole technology, and I can't believe people are doing those VTuber things. And I'm listening to this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you only knew. And I told the person right after, and she's like, why do you do it? Do you make a lot of money or so? I'm like, anyway, going back to old Rex right here. Well, going back to the article, actually, it says here the appeal of VTubers is that they allow two-way communication through comments on streams, making it easier for people to recognize themselves as individuals. Although her appearance was spot on when she first became interested in them, when he became interested in them, he passionately explained, in the end, most people fall in love with their humanity. Even if their soul goes into another body, fans will follow wherever their soul goes. Interesting. That's very deep, man. If you go too far, it becomes a nuisance. There's also a dilemma with the serious love crowd. Okay, yeah, I mean, okay, again, there is a problem when the people do not are not productive. If they cannot support their lifestyle, if they are, if they are getting to the point where they're causing their family pain and headaches because they don't want to work, and they just want to stay home. Those people are problematic. If they don't want to be productive, they don't want to get a job, if they don't want to get educated or so forth, or get out of the house, then there's some people who may have medical conditions, and I can understand that. But for those who, I guess for those who are not productive, then I think, yeah, I think those people. I know there's a whole thing in Japan about that with NEETs, and these people, and not in just Japan. It's actually happening in other countries now. And um, my feeling is that if you have a hobby or if you have a niche, you have to work hard to support that. If you want to be a VTuber, you know already it's going to cost money. You can get stuff for free. There's only so much you can do for free. But, when it comes to like the rigging, when it comes to clothing, when it comes to, collaboration efforts, it costs something. If you want to play video games, it costs something. If you want to play, there's just so many other hobbies and niche. Just know that you have to pay for it some way. And there's some people who are like, well, I don't want to work or be productive or do anything. I would rather just collect, or have my parents pay for it, or not do anything. I think that can be a little problematic right there. Some people may disagree, but I feel that as long as not putting in other stress on others because of your lifestyle, then but if it's not causing any problem, then so be it. But yeah, continue on this article. VTubers also have a dilemma when it comes to those who are serious fans. According to a VTuber affiliated with the company, there have been an increase in radical people who demand something in return for their fan activities. If you tell them to feel free to do so, they will take aggressive action to get closer. But if you tell them to stop, you will lose fans and be harassed. It's a double-edged sword. If it goes too far, it can lead to annoying behavior such as replying to all of X's posts, sending a low number of messages, or approaching them pretending to be in the same industry and asking for collaboration products. So that's going way overboard, and I could see that happening. It's one of the reasons why a lot of companies try to protect the anonymity of these individuals who are VTubers, who are idols, and who are, pop stars. And I can tell you right now that when it comes to these idols or VTubers, it's been something that's been documented online. That's why a lot of idols try to create the no love or dating ban type of atmosphere, because fans know that this is no good. NG, no good. You should never, interfere with that. And when a idol does find themselves on the tabloids, and of course, then you see all hell break loose. People burning their photo cards and merchandise. People going really crazy and are very hurt, and they show that off on social media. But you really got to be careful for those people who are a little bit obsessed. And there are, examples of people who have been from idols in the past in Japan, especially, who have been um, harassed and also have been stalked. And unfortunately, it has happened in the U.S., United States. I remember there was a YouTuber, right, a singer, who had a fan meeting, and the fan killed her. And that was one of the unfortunate situations. You got to be careful. You need to. These people need to protect themselves, and I know that some people feel that buying them a lot of gifts and spending a lot of on them, they deserve something in return. May it be more affection, may it be more, and there are people who are very who feel that they spend so much that these idols should acknowledge them, especially compared to their other fans, and that's really hard because a lot of these fans, a lot of these VTubers and idols, they try to treat their fans all the same and show the same love and support, but because one is spending so much money, do you tend to they shouldn't expect better treatment, and that's where it becomes a little tough situation because I know people who've in the past who've invested so much in idols. I know one guy who bought like a Louis Vuitton uh, bag and sent it to his favorite idol, and they get so much mail. How do you know it's going to get to them? Staff may keep it for themselves, but they do this to filter everything out, make sure nothing bad gets to them. But you just got to be careful. You gotta really be careful, especially with the stalking. And you probably heard a lot of the K-pop news with some of the idol groups. There's some idols who actually get into their hotel rooms and find a way to break in, and it's just sad. It is very sad. And there's some people who know that there's a remember who was it? A female idol group, K-pop one, where they actually took the same flight. It was just going crazy. They knew the flight schedule, and it was really bad. But I think it's worse when those stalkers who actually get into your room, get into your mail. That's just really, really terrible. Anyway, the article says, with this background, Rex explains the current situation is that it's difficult for the agency to say either no serious love or please be serious. From the fans' perspective, declaring oneself in serious love means they'll be looked down upon those around them. It's a situation where neither can be discussed. The serious love group continues to agonize alone and eventually resorts to nuisance behavior. And this article, as an example of a nuisance behavior, there was a case where a person repeatedly asked intrusive questions about an idol's private life at a handshake event and was banned from the event after not stopping despite the person's warning to ask the agency first. There was also a case where a person was arrested for forgery of a private document with a seal after submitting a marriage registration to the city hall without the permission of the streamer, and blog posts and stalking behavior have escalated into attempted murder. As a measure to prevent nuisance behavior, Rex emphasizes that the subject of your actions comes down to whether they are for the other persons or for themselves. He points out the form of support will change depending on your occupation. At that time, you should calmly think about what is the best form of support for that person. And then you have here Kamataku, a staff member at the gay bar Craze in Kabukicho, warns, because we live in an age where individuals can become VTubers, there is also a possibility that incidents could develop without anyone to protect them. Although he has fans himself, I draw a clear line, and from the beginning I've taken the stance that I will not let them dream. There is only reality here. In response to this, Rex agreed, saying, if both sides understand that, there's a line here, nothing will happen. It's very important for the performers to make the other side understand the existence of boundary. boundaries. So that is from Abima Prime. I will have a link to this article, and also I believe I you can check out the news with a video of Rex, and you can see probably his collection of Emu Alice that he has all over his home. So you know, um, yeah, my feeling is still the same that I said earlier about reading this article. I don't feel any shame for Rex because if he finds happiness and love, towards a virtual idol, then so be it. At the same time, you know, who knows? He might meet a woman who actually loves him, and he may change from that. His ideas may change. I've known people who are idol fans who love idols, but then those idol groups they don't last that long, and a lot of them have spent a ton of merchandise, especially with AKB48. A lot of the original members, I remember people spent a ton of money on them, but those people ended up getting they graduated, they got married, and what happened to all that merch that they're stuck with? It's not like they could be tradable anymore. They're not hot commodities. So the thing is that it's something that they have to live with, and if they have no regrets because it's something that happened at that time of their lives, then so be it. I think the same thing with a lot of people who love and are obsessed or are major collectors of things. There are people I know who love Tomika, and they collect a lot of Tomika. There are people I know who love Lego, and they collect a lot of Legos. And there are people who watch a lot of anime, and they collect a lot of anime. Um, and same thing with Blu-rays, DVDs, and other people who are into like Figma and Nindoroids and other collectibles. But you know what? If they spend a lot of money on it, and it's because they love it, and if they find happiness from it, then so be it. Again, problem happens when they have no means of supporting that livelihood, and they take it far beyond what than what happens in the norm. There's one thing, a lot of people who have these hobbies, they tend to, not share it. If they're neats or they're people, they tend to be more personal. They keep it to themselves. But when people like Rex, and there are other people again, people who marry their virtual idols or some Vocaloid character or something like that, and they put themselves and be on the news, then of course they're gonna, they tend to get a lot of heat. But these people are pretty much dedicated, and they profess their love, and there's no changing from that in their mind. So if he's still happy, and I wish that guy the best, because I could tell you, just being public like this, I'm sure he's gonna, a lot of people are gonna probably want to know who this person, where they live and where they work and why, and a lot of people are intrigued by that. But again, people have different types of love, and this person just loves his VTuber. So, some people, some people say, what, falling in love with a real person is, is the way to go, and traditionally that is true. But the thing is that I think in this day in life where a lot of people, they find love, and love just doesn't happen for them or doesn't work for them, and they get burned by it, they find love for something else. Some people have hobbies, some people have vehicles, some people love travel. They find something else. And whether they find love again, quite possibly. But there are people out there who are lonely and don't feel that they'll ever be in love. But if they want to find love through a character or so, as weird it may sound, my feeling is, hey, so be it. I'm not the one to judge. Whatever makes you happy, makes you happy. Really, it's some people may say, well, that's really unhealthy, but again, he has a job, and he's able to support himself, and who's the judge, right? So that's about it. that's pretty much it for this reaction video. So definitely chime in and let me know what you think. So you all take care. Again, wink, wink, and